Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, the very first verse in the Bible says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And it goes on to say that the Spirit of the Lord hovered over the waters. It's pretty cool, huh? And then God said, let there be light. And a light appeared, and he called the light day and the darkness night. And over the next 6 days, God created everything from the mountaintops to the depths of the ocean, the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, the animals that roam the planet. And then eventually, he breathed a breath into our lungs. He created you and me. And on the seventh day, he rested. The challenge is, even though God has been with us since the beginning, you and I chose to leave God because of our sin. But here's the cool part. God has never left us. He's been with us since the beginning of time. As you look throughout the Bible, you find story after story where God was with us. It's early in the morning, and this man named Elisha is woken up by his servant, and he says, you're not gonna believe this. We have an army coming on us right now. What should we do? And Elisha prayed, God, would you open the eyes of my servant? And when his servant opens his eyes, he sees chariots and horses of fire surrounding the mountaintops. And God uses this band of angel armies to blind the enemy so they can defeat the enemy. Or another battle where a king has not just one, but two armies coming upon him. And he says, God, what should I do? And God says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send your musicians out first, giving glory and honor and praise to God. So the musicians go out singing, give thanks to the Lord because his love endures forever. The king and his army didn't even have to lift a sword because they won the battle with that one song. Or another battle, the battle of Joshua, as the sun begins to set, he prays, God, I ask that you would allow the sun and the moon to stand still so I can complete your work, and God grants him that request. Or three individuals who are following the commandments of God, they said, you know what, we will not bow down to this statue even though we're being told to do so. And because of it, they were thrown into a furnace. But guess what? When the guards came to the furnace, they saw 4 individuals in that fire because God was with them. Or Daniel, who was told, you know what, you can only pray to the king. And Daniel said, you know what, I'm gonna pray to God. And because of it, he was thrown into the pit with lions. But when the king came back the next day, they found that God had shut the mouth of the lions. But perhaps maybe the greatest story of all was the day that God stepped down from heaven and became Jesus to our world. Emmanuel, God with us. He wasn't born into a palace, he was born into a manger. And as Jesus grew older, he began to allow the blind to see again, and those who were deaf to hear again, those who were paralyzed to stand and walk again, those who were sick to be healed, those who were dead to come alive again. And the greatest story of all was the day that Jesus not only sacrificed himself on the cross, but that 3 days later, he rose again. And I believe that the same God of power who's been around since the beginning of time is alive in this room tonight. He's alive in our families. He's alive in our hearts. He's alive in our schools. He's alive in our workplaces. He's alive in our addictions. He's alive no matter what we're faced with. We can turn our eyes to the mountaintops. He's our defender through